Hi there, friends. Ken here, your Thrifty Apprentice, and welcome back. This is week 2 of Thrifty Long Month giveaway. And for week 1, if you remember, we looked at Ready to Paint 30-Minute Animals in Watercolor by Matthew Palmer. But for week 2, we are looking at Ready to Paint 30-Minute Flowers in Watercolor by Mortimer. As you can see, there's beautiful illustration here on the front. And again, we are released by 5 Search Press, including traceables for 35 step-by-step projects. Let's take a look here at the back of the book. Ready to Paint in 30-Minute Flowers. This comprehensive beginner's guide to painting flowers in watercolor is ideal if you want to learn to paint but are short on time. Each of the 35 quick and easy exercises take no more than 30 minutes and will teach you how to paint a particular flower or use a new technique in your watercolor, which is what I love about this series of books. The book also contains 3 larger paintings that demonstrate how to combine the elements learned into vibrant and inspiring artworks of flowers in different contexts. You will learn about form and composition, color mixing, working with watercolor, and capturing flowers in their various stages of life. The exercises are all worked at postcard size, giving you 35 miniature works of art to keep. All the required tracings are included. Of course, you got a SKU code down here, and it is US $19.95, Canada $23.95, in the UK $12.99. All right. So just like in the first video, here we have the second book in a series of 30-minute painting projects that concentrate on a particular theme. The first one was animals, and this one we are looking at flowers. So just like before, my friends, you're going to have an introductory to the artist, and then the very first section of the book is full of traceables on tracing paper that you can graphite the back of and then transfer the drawing onto whatever substrate you are using in order to create on. Really, really cool. Of course, these do target watercolors, and that is the project that we are going to be doing today. So, Anne Mortimer is a professional watercolor artist and tutor. She started her working life as a French teacher, but had always had a passion for drawing and painting. In 1990, Anne took up a study of watercolor painting and was soon selling her work and her designs. She is a member of the Society of Floral Painters, with whom she exhibits annually. She has demonstrated for art societies around the country, held workshops in her garden studio at home, and runs painting holidays. Anne continues to share her skills through watercolor demonstrations on her website, her blog, and on YouTube. Anne's love for painting has always gone hand in hand with a love of flowers and gardening, each activity complementing the other. Anne has 3 grown-up children and lives in Nottinghamshire, UK, with her husband. And of course, it gives you instructions, just like I did, on how you use the transfers. So, moving past that into the beginning of the book, we are going to get into another basic kind of how-to step-by-step flow of instructions, right? So we are talking about flowers, so that's what we're leading up to. You're going to have a table of contents which lays all of the projects out in case you want to just kind of skip to a certain one. You know, basic as with all of the books. Let's see. This book was first published in 2017, right? Reprinted in 2018, 2019, 2021, and then 2022. Yes, all right. You're going to get an introduction, which kind of introduces you to the artist's thoughts and to what is going on throughout the rest of the book. I never go into detail of reading these. I will tell you it's an interesting read, and it just kind of tells you what you can expect, how to use this book, walks you through basically guiding you through following the instructions, which are going to be laid out and so simple. And just like in the previous book from this, so the publishers, Like, I like the way that these books are being laid out, because once we get to the project section, it'll be easy for you to see. Then you can really kind of follow along with the detailed pictures they're giving you with each step. So, beautiful illustration throughout the book. Very awe-inspiring. I am not a loose artist, so for me, this book was just like yummy candy, because I love watercolors, and I want to become much better at my loose style painting. So for me, this is just a dream to kind of dive into this different aspect and actually get words on paper, and that my brain is kind of sucking in and absorbing. So you're going to get the basic painting equipment, which walks you through paints, palettes, brushes, papers, whether you need a hair dryer, paper towels, using salt, soap, erasers, pencils, palette knives, spray bottles, and water, masking fluid, and masking tape. Like, you get the entire shebang. And then, of course, it's going to walk you through a preparation of palette, as well as a suggestion of colors to use to make up a palette for the projects throughout the book. What I will tell you is that I noticed right away, just from the color layout and the names, that she was using Winsor & Newton professional watercolor paints in order to for her idea throughout the themes of this book, just so you'll know. I did not use it. I'm going to be using today's or this week's suggested educational palette that was chosen by myself and Decca, and we'll get to that momentarily. All right, so moving on, you're going to move into the project section. Everything else will be a project. And just like the previous book, I feel like the projects get progressively harder. You're going to start out with a silhouette painting, and then you are going to start moving into, excuse me, the meat of the book. And what I love about it is, like, there is literally almost every type of flower, common flowers that you see painted on a regular basis. It goes into special effects, and I just love the way the book breaks down the details of how to paint whatever you're going to be painting, step by step, giving you even down to the detailed percentages of what paint to mix with what paint to make whatever color, if it's a color mixture calls for. But as I was telling you guys earlier, you can see here the actual step-by-step illustrations that come with it are very detailed. So even if one just decided for some reason or another they did not want to read the instructions, they really could visually follow the pictures that are in the book. Now, I kind of do a combination of both. What I'll do before I start on a project is I'll read through the steps, kind of get myself familiar with the flow of what's going on. And then as I'm painting, I'm really just kind of following the pictures, because in the back of my mind, I already kind of have the instructions that are going on. And that is the method I'm going to be employing in today's demo once we get to that part. With that being said, what we are going to be painting is the rose. And I was really enthused about this. I really want to get better at painting roses, and I really want to get better at more loose, kind of free-spirited, free-flowing flower work. So I did use the rosebud, and keeping in tradition of using everything that came in the book, I simply removed the page that had the rosebud tracing, graphite at the back, transferred it onto the paper I would be working on today, and then use an eraser to erase off the graphite. That way I can keep the tracing paper in good condition for future use, Inserted it back into the book, and I'm sure there are better ways to do it. I mean, if you should get this book, you will discover your own way of, like, how to get the tracings onto the paper you may be using. So with all of that said, what we're going to do is we're going to jump into today's demonstration so that you can see how easy it was for me to follow the instructions in the book. As I said, I read through the instructions, read all of the suggested supplies that would be used for the project, took me a really good look at both the reference photo and the completed painting by Anne, and then I jumped into painting kind of using the pictures as a visual to kind of flow through. And I'm going to take you guys on that journey with me. All right, my friends, let's jump into the demo and have some watercolor fun with this painting. Now, I am not using the suggested colors from the book. I am using the Artwell Artist 24 half pen set. So I will be kind of transposing the colors, looking at what's suggested in the book and choosing the closest color I have in my palette to it. Now, the first step that I'm taking with this composition is not actually listed in the book. So I am taking the more golden tone of the yellows in the set, the cad yellow medium, a step up before I get to cad orange, and I watered it down and I'm using it to paint in the background again, which is not a step in the book. I did want to put some light toning behind the actual painting, just to help it stand out a little bit more. Now, I painted the background as well as the area that I knew I would be covering for the rose composition, you know, the green area, the greenery area, should I say. I tried to put enough water and pigment down to put some salt and create texture in the background, but unfortunately it was unsuccessful, and that was definitely user error. I don't think I put down enough pigment in that actual wash. At this point, I've actually moved on to the steps in the book, starting with step 1, 2, and 3. Now, as I told you earlier, I'm kind of following the pictures, but I've already read through all of the steps for the project several different times just to make sure I was familiar with what I should be doing, familiar with the mixtures that were suggested, as well as just with the overall flow of the project. I went in with a heavier consistency of paint than water with the cad yellow medium in order to re-wet the green area of the composition. At this point, I'm taking tree green, which is more of your yellow-green tone. So just find whatever green you have that leans more towards yellow in your set. And that is what I use to actually drop into the cad yellow medium in order to put in more medium tones actually. Afterwards, I'm going back into that, dropping in the Hooker's Green Light. That's going to help just mix on the paper, create a different variations of green, let you see different shades from a darker tone moving down to the more light yellow tone, just different variations. I wanted to make sure that you could see that there were different colors that decided to just kind of play and mingle with themselves inside that area. Now, once I got that down and it was looking pretty good to me, I'm moving on in the areas of step 4, 5, and 6 here. And I am creating that reddish brown tone that you see on a lot of rose flower buds. You know, it's on the end of the greenery that actually wraps around the bud before it opens up, or you can see it kind of elongated out past the petals of the flower as the bud is, you know, getting to its more mature state. And then, of course, when the bud is in full bloom, they tend to be curled more so up under the actual rosebud. And for that, the book was suggesting more of your burnt sienna and your more magenta leaning red, your rosier, pinkier of the reds. Now, for this set, it was scarlet. And I really do forget what the name of the burnt sienna color is. It is red ochre. That's what I was using. I was using the red ochre mixed with a little bit of scarlet in order to paint in that area. Now, it is still a little damp from the green that I was painting, but it's not like soaky wet to the point where the paint would like rush or flow into the rest of the composition. I am going to touch with a little of that color down around the bottom of the rosebud and the stem, and hit here and there with it on the rose, the rose leaves as well. Just wanted to just kind of carry that color throughout the actual composition just to create a little bit more harmony. At this point, it's time to go in and start laying down the shadow green. This will not be the darkest green that I put in this composition, and we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. But this is the darkest green that's suggested in the book, and you're just dropping in the shadow. To achieve this green, I mixed the original tree green, which would be a yellow green, Hooker's Green Light, and a little bit of ultramarine blue until I got a darker color that was in the same color family as the original green, but definitely stood out as the darkest shade. I re-wet the area because I wanted the paint to flow throughout the green areas, and when it dried, to not give me such a hard line, a hard blend. I really didn't want to worry about it. It helped to make this part of the composition really easy, and that is suggested by the book. I'm being sure to mind my lighter areas. I don't want to cover up everything. I want to make sure that you can definitely see a transition from the darker green up into the lighter colors, going all the way down to that original cad yellow medium that we covered the entire green area with. And I'm just going to take my time following the reference pictures actually, and just kind of gauging where I need that darker color. It's real easy. I love this series of books. This is the second one. Well, actually, I've read, in all honesty, all 4 of the books that are going to be in this giveaway. We're just on book 2, but I have thoroughly enjoyed both the 30-minute animal book as well as this 30-minute flower book. I'm just sharing one of the compositions with you guys, but I have painted a few compositions in the background just to really become comfortable with how the instructions in the book flow. And I will honestly say I have not been disappointed in either one of them. Now, as you can see, I did decide to start adding in a little detail as I was putting in the darker shade, mainly in the leaf area, where I was suggesting that kind of jagged, sharp edge that you would get around a rose leaf. I thought it was really, really cool and really cute. Got that to where I wanted it and gave it time to dry because I was about to start to paint the rosebuds, and I did not want that color to flow into the green. Especially using a red tone, it was going to neutralize, and I just didn't want to have to deal with those issues. So I was sure to give the green time to completely dry before starting in with the rosebuds, which are super simple, mind you. 2 colors suggested are your more rosy red and the golden yellow. In this case, I was using the cad yellow medium. So I took the scarlet, watered it down, started at the very bottom of the buds after wetting each one, and then slowly painted from the scarlet, moving up, not cleaning my brush, dipping directly into the cad yellow medium and painting the rest of the rosebud. It caused for a beautiful transition in color from your darker, rosier, up into your pinker, up into your yellow pink. Very beautiful. I was sure to get as much of the pigment as I could down in the first wash, because trying to stick to the theme of the book and paint a looser style flower, I wanted to do all of the work in the first layer, give it time to dry, get in, get out, be done. And for what it's worth, the instructions in the book helped me to visualize, along with the pictures, what I needed to do, making it simple in my head to translate to paper. Now, it may not be that way for everybody, but it definitely worked out that way for me. Of course, I can never leave well enough alone. I felt like there needed to be a very few details with a little separation. I created a darker green to kind of separate those stems on the rosebud to add just a little definition in. That green is created from the tree green, the Hooker's Green Light with a little ultramarine blue. And then I did the same thing to the rosebud petals. I took the scarlet, mixed it with just a little of that red ochre I talked about earlier, a tad bit of ultramarine blue, watered it down, and then I went around the immediate edge of all of the rose petals just to give them a tiny bit of separation. Didn't use a heavy hand, didn't want a lot of details, but did want a little realism while keeping a loose feel. And after it was all said and done, I feel like the painting style in this book, mixed with the little bit of detail that I have to add, turned out okay. I splattered the background for just a little bit more flow with the scarlet and then the darker green mixture. I signed the paper after that, and then I'm going to take my black fine liner and draw in my black border in order to stand out against the white border that's going to be created by the paper. I always do this effect. I feel like it just kind of adds a little bit of elegance to compositions. At this point, I am going to remove the masking tape. That way I'm able to reveal the white edge on the card. I feel like that pop of white always gives it a little bit of extra pizzazz as well. And that, my friends, brings us to the end of the composition, and I will see you guys on the other side. And my artsy friends, here we are with today's completed project. I have paired this with an envelope as I did last week's. This will be included in this week's giveaway. Someone may choose to either frame it or, give it away as a gift themselves, whatever you choose to do with it. But I'm very happy to include a piece of artwork with today's giveaway. So let's talk a little bit about the paints used in today's video. Here we have that Artwell 24 half pan set. Now this, my friends, happens to be one of my favorite sets. It is a student grade semi-transparent set of paints. It is really good on color mixing. It does really well with flow. It has a pretty decent flow to it. It layers well without lifting if you don't want it, depending on the quality of the paper, but it will lift if you need to outside of your standing colors, which is standard with most watercolor sets. Now, it is my wholehearted belief that this particular set is white labeled and produced by Superior Paints. Now, I do not work for Superior nor Artwell, so I do not know that to be 100% fact. I am just basing that on my experience with paints and the numerous amounts of watercolor sets that I have tried, tested, and reviewed both on and off camera. So, I mean, you may want to take that with a grain of salt, which I will completely understand, but I do believe that the paints are white labeled by Superior. You may be familiar with Superior if you've happened to seen one of the flip palettes like this. This is a Superior white labeled product, and the paints are eerily similar, if not the same, to the Artwell set, as well as several other sets that I have in my watercolor collection that I do believe are white labeled by Superior. With that being said, it happens to be one of my most recommended student grade sets because, as I stated, I do believe it to be really good for just being an overall beginner set, which is going to give you a really good quality paint that won't break the bank, but allow you to do all of the techniques that you have come to expect from those student grade paints that are on the level of, say, Winsor Newton Cotman, Grumbacher Academy, sets of that nature. So there you have that. It will come included in today's giveaway set, and we are going to eventually be getting around to announcing last week's winner. I did just want to talk a little bit about the paints that will be included in this week's giveaway. So let's see here. We are getting around to wrapping this on up. Let's take a look at the book once more that will be included in this week's giveaway. So we will have the 30-minute flower and watercolor, the Artwell 24 half pan set, as well as a hand-painted piece of artwork included in this giveaway. So let's talk about entering for this one, and then we will get around to announcing the winner for last week. Okay, so to enter into this particular giveaway, it is very easy. Please keep in mind it is open to U.S. residents only. The ready to paint in 30-minute watercolor set, and all of this is available to you. You simply jump in the comment section and let me know how your art has affected someone else's life. If it's been positive, if it just made them smile, if it was just a card for Mother's Day that you know touched her heart, whatever it was, jump in the comment section and share with me one of your positive experiences of sharing art with someone else. I think that would be so great for everyone to read. It would be so touching to see how, as I always tell you, we can truly spread love by spreading art. That's what you have to do. As with the last giveaway for last week, you will have up into 11:59 on this upcoming Saturday. So almost a week to jump in the comment section. And then the winner will be selected randomly and announced in week 3's giveaway announcement. So that should be pretty easy for everybody to follow. And now let's get around to what I know a lot of people are waiting for. So the winner of last week's giveaway, who is going to be getting 30-minute painting animals and watercolors by Matthew Palmer, the 36 half-pan set of Making Pretty Excellent Watercolors, as well as last week's composition, the zebra. All right, my friends, are you ready? And the random selected winner is Annette Farrow 2825. Again, that is Annette Farrow 2825. Hello, my dear. You are the winner of last week's giveaway, and I will be happy to get this off to you as soon as I possibly can. I just simply need you to email me at this email address at thriftyapprentice.com at gmail. I said thriftyapprentice.com. thriftyapprentice@gmail.com. And let me know who you are. We will discuss all the great details, confirm everything, and then you, my dear, will soon have your very own 30-minute painting and animal watercolor book, your Making Pretty Excellent set, as well as your original painted card by myself. Congratulations. And I am hoping that you will still enter this week along with everyone else. Guys, keep in mind that this will be going on all week long here on the Thrifty Apprentice channel in order to promote art education, sponsored by the Thrifty Apprentice Studios, Defiant Arts, and DECA, the Thrifty Apprentice Creation Association. Thank you guys so very much. I really appreciate you guys participating in last week's giveaway. So there you have it, my friends. That is a wrap up of this week's giveaway video. If you found, saw, picked up on anything, or just simply enjoyed hanging out, don't forget to sprinkle a little love, and that's a like. You can share the video, because sharing is caring. And keep in mind, those likes and shares do help get the video in front of other interested viewers like yourself. It helps that algorithm that YouTube keeps playing with. All right, my friends, don't forget what you need to leave in the comment section in order to enter this week's random giveaway. If you're new to the channel or you're returning and you haven't subscribed, now's the time to hit that subscription button and notification bell so you do not miss when we upload or go live. And jump in the video description to check all of the relevant links to today's video and to check out some of the lists included that are recommended products for you that will help keep you painting but not spending a lot of money. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you back here Monday for Thrifty Apprentice Live. And until then, remember, as I tell you at the end of every video, just keep creating.